Then you get into real estate. Kind of what was your motivation of why that was the industry for you?
Um, One because of I understood it. It was something tangible that I could see, think, and also I seen that everybody was doing it. All the cool people was doing it. You see, right? All the millionaires or billionaires like real estate. Like if they can do it, I can do it too.
And I think you nailed it with there's more millionaires that have been created with real estate than any other way in the world. So that's a great kind of starting out motivation. Go where the crowd of millionaires are at.
Exactly.
So you first started with the way everybody does, I'm guessing, wholesaling. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Matter of fact, my first actually started from Robert Kiyosaki Rich Dad Poor Dad event. And at first I didn't understand wholesaling. I did something called it was called sandwich leasing. And back then it was basically like it's kind of like maybe kind of like Airbnb arbitrage now as history repeats itself.
Yep.
Basically back then it was Craigslist. So you go on Craigslist, find a property that's listed for rent, you get it for rent, and you mark it up for somebody else, and you be the middleman between the two things. And that was my first actually indoctrination into multifamily. I mean, it just in real estate. I like this. I can do that. It cost me nothing at all. I can do it, and I felt it it like $100 or even like $100 a month or so forth to get it done. But that was my first actually getting something that actually try that the approach of real estate.
And just to kind of expand on that, because people are still doing it.
Yes.
I know some sizable companies that are doing it with commercial space
Mm-hmm.
because there are the higher rents, the bigger opportunities there. And very much so in the Airbnb and the short-term vacation rentals. Hey, you just get a great property under lease. And as long as you do it legally and are allowed to under the contracts and leases and HOAs and everything else, great. Get a property under lease, Airbnb it out for way more
Mm-hmm.
than what it costs you. It's still some amazing opportunities that is literally nothing out of pocket
Mm-hmm.
other than signing those contracts, making the down payments or the security deposits. So I love how you started,
Mm-hmm.
and it still works today.
It's funny to say, cause like you asked me, I guess the question is yes, wholesaling, because I think wholesaling is kind of a concept that can go across to any board, right? Companies, Walmart, they wholesale, they buy cheap, they sell high, or you can like saying. So I think that the whole concept of that's how America's kind of capitalism kind of brought up, right? It's about arbitrage, buy cheap, sell high, or you gotta make them money between. So I guess the answer is yes, wholesaling of some nature.
And to throw it, it really is the same thing. You're wholesaling a purchase agreement,
Mm-hmm.
or you're wholesaling in the same thought,
Mm-hmm.
the leases.
Uh-huh.
Very little out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get the contract underway, the security deposit or an earnest money deposit.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're just marking up to try to sell that contract. It's an amazing way to start.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you went through that. Yeah, I think almost everybody starts with that wholesaling concept. Where'd you go next?
I think so I went from wholesaling and at the time I actually was in the United States military. I was in the Army. And one of the things that wholesaling became big was buying HUD homes, wholesaling online. And at the time I was putting in all the offers with real estate agents. Hey, real estate agent, help me out, try to sell low. And when I'm like this dude, I'm not doing it anymore. And I felt like, okay, forget it. I become a real estate agent. And I became a real estate agent and doing stuff myself. And I became I started partnering with one of the biggest hub providers in real estate in Louisiana at the time. So, and I learned so much about that. Then the time came for me to kind of renew my my contract in the Army, because my goal was to join the Army and become an Army doctor, do my 30 years and call it a day, right?
Yep.
But then I guess that we all kind of have that passion of the gain of pleasure or the voice of pain, right? So I was like, well, I feel like I did a couple of wholesale deals, and I said, dude, I make more money outside of the Army opposed to in the Army. So I said, well, listen, I'm gonna take this opportunity to jump and see can I be a small fish in this big pond? And I moved to Dallas, Texas, Plano area, and to try to see how can I be a small fish in a big pond, and that kind of opened up so many different doors. I started getting to connect with the right people, the right environment, and started doing like private money lending, wholesaling, apartment finding, and just start growing as me being a real estate agent, start growing this different platforms. And and once again, it started growing. Then another opportunity came in my life. Like, dude, I'm making all this cash influx, but I'm still not spending the time the people I want to share with, like my family, my wife. How can I be this guy that doesn't have it all, right? It's like this conundrum. Like when I was working, I'm like, dang, I should be at home with my family. I'm at home, I should be at home with with working. It's like this constant conundrum going back and forth, and like trying to find this balance, y'all call it.
isn't the entrepreneurial mindset, it's a unique thing because it's like there's always something to do.
Yes.
And you're a master of none. You got to focus on everything and just trying to find that right place in the world. Do you feel like you ultimately ended up finding that, or is it still you're on the path?
I think that it's kind of like I think it's kind of like dating, if you will. I think that in order to appreciate a good woman, you gotta deal with some bad women. In order to appreciate a good man, you gotta deal with some bad men. So I think that same opportunity. In order to appreciate a good opportunity, you gotta deal with some bad opportunity, and also those things kind of level my skill set of like I had to figure out how to learn those things to build myself up. As you say, entrepreneurship it's a self growth thing. Learn how to sell, learn how to market, learn how to take rejections, right? Learn how to connect, create something from nothing, if you will. And I think that those things kind of built who I am today. And I look back, I love the like I say, it's just truly I actually hate the thing like it's not destination, it's a journey like this. Man, what's that mean? And looking back, like, dude, I'm glad I went through the fire. Like it's a process of being molded, going through the rock tumbler, getting smooth, getting the bumps and bruises is one of the things that kind of make you come out stronger than before.
I think you nailed it. Like the easy path doesn't allow you to grow, doesn't demand you grow.
Yes.
To deal with the difficulties of running your own business, doing your own real estate deals, being the master of your own future. So I am still trying to figure out my way because I'm still doing the 12, 14-hour days. Like it doesn't end.
I don't. I mean, maybe because right now I'm at and maybe looking down the road, but I don't think that it's truly an end to it. I think the end to it because of it's a calling within all of us. I think what Ryan Moran says, like when entrepreneurship take a problem and kind of make them their own, right? It's like you feel like it's my problem. Like I feel like you feel convicted to do something.
That I totally get. So you've been doing this show recently, really focused on multifamily. Could you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing, and then we'll talk about what you're gonna do.
So one of the things that like I said in my journey of multifamily, because I do multifamily because I wanted the cash flow, the passive income they all call about, right? And they always teach you go out, find a property, underwrite, find out right, and then you do raise capital. So I spent weeks, months trying to find the right property, talking to broken sellers, right? Then I spent hours with spreadsheets trying to raise capital. I mean, trying to underwrite a deal. Did I go out and beg people to raise capital, so forth? And what happened was I got a contract, and actually it didn't work. I actually had a couple of contracts. And I felt like at that moment of time, the biggest issue was raising capital. I think that was all wrong. So I created a show. I said, well, I went to a event and they had kind of Shark Tank thing for apartment investors. And I thought I can do this cool, right? And I did it for online, kind of create fast forward. And I created online the idea for me to raise capital and be a part of other people's deals. And I said, well, beginning of the year, I said, well, listen, let me see. The concept work for a living. So if I said, well, let me go all in and see what happens. Let me see if I do for a whole year, what can come out of this. And I did it for a whole year. Every Thursday I did for a whole year. And start with nothing and just see what it grew from it. And it grew to me and become a fund manager. It grew from me raising over $25 million in 7 months. And it grew from me helping people get funded more deals. I'm part of more deals now, part of more quality deals. I look for deals. So I think that just going, that thing, and also I realized that the show it's more so the educated platform, but also give people an opportunity to invest in deals they never probably get a chance to invest in RC deals because with RCB and so forth, it's buddies and families and friends. Like so, you might see majority of deals that are out there. So it gives the common person opportunity to see what's else out there.
And you know what? I think that's a key factor that people don't really think about is if you have somebody that's just pitching you a deal and you're not seeing really what's out there in the market, how do you know if you're getting a great offer? And that's, I think, a massive benefit of what your show is doing is you were bringing so many different deals, opportunities, properties to the table that it showed people, oh, why am I investing over here with ugly terms?
Yes.
With this high risk opportunity.
Yes.
When I could be over there. So I think you did just an amazing job of exposing so many more people to how to do things right.
Yeah, because so many times, like, you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. I don't know what's going on. I didn't know what was going on in Indiana. I don't know what was going on in even my backyard sometimes, right? Because DFW got so many areas in DFW. So it's so many things that you don't know, and it gives you opportunity to kind of see, okay, this is how things are done. This is how people are doing. This is how big players are doing, and it's like you kind of see a common thread, and that's why you become more knowledgeable and get more confident in that process.
I love it. So you're taking a little break on the show for the moment, right?
Yeah. So right now we're not really more break. We kind of revamping the show. We kind of come back and make the show stronger because of excuse me there. One of the things that we're doing is making an opportunity for people to a lot of deals that been presented deals was actually 501c deals only for accredited investors only. And we've seen how we had a good portion of other people weren't able to be a part of these deals, right? So it's like you see it, but now I still can't be a part of it. So that now it's even worse now, right? So now you told me what I'm missing, I still can't get a part of it. So now we're trying to so now we revamping the show, going in back in and making it possible that anybody who watches the show will be an opportunity to get a part of these deals. So now the capability is there. So now you have a true opportunity to say either I can pay thousands of dollars, invest in this coaching program, or I can say, hey, I can be a part of Real Deal and see what real things do and make money. I can earn and learn at the same time. So I think they become a learning platform, but also a platform that actually feeds you back. So you get a true return on investment by learning on real deals.
I absolutely love it. And then full disclosure, we're working on a crowdfunding portal right now.
Indeed.
Been filed. It's all coming together. And in the next couple of months, we're hitting exactly that goal together of everyone, you too, can invest into all the deals that are coming together to be talked about, presented, torn apart on the platform, but democratizing the capital gain.
Now, with that said, because I had a phone call on the way over here, the guy had to explain, I'm trying to explain the benefits of crowdfunding, because the term kind of thrown around so well. Could you please explain the benefit of the crowdfunding, some of its benefits, some of its downfalls?
Well, let me kind of start with what is crowdfunding. Literally, my business is crowdfunding lawyers, but it's kind of just a buzzword. So if you ask me what's crowdfunding, what it is raising money from a crowd for either to pre-purchase products like the Kickstarter or Indiegogo. That's one type of crowdfunding that we have nothing to do with. Another type of crowdfunding, GoFundMe, more of a charitable crowdfunding. You're raising capital from everybody for some charitable purpose. They also have those on the debt side where you can crowdfund business startups in other operations or real estate, or just help people by funding their debts. And then finally, where we focus all of our time, equity crowdfunding, where really you're going to the crowd and saying, hey, we've got this opportunity. Because traditionally, under Regulation D, you couldn't advertise, you couldn't market, you couldn't be out there talking to the crowd. With the Jobs Act of 2012, it created this Regulation D 506C, which now allowed you to market and talk to everybody about it. So the beginning of crowdfunding, but you still had a limitation on only accepting verified accredited investors. So great, you can advertise, but you can only accept 5 to 10% of the U.S. population as investors. And generally kind of the mid-range minimum investment is like $50,000, $100,000. It's not a game that everyone can play. So now fast forward to 2018 to 2020, and new opportunities are rolling up. And that's a lot of what we're focused on now is Regulation A, as an example. Now we can put together funds or series of funds that anybody, as long as you're 18 years old and have a checkbook, or not, who has checks, but everybody can invest now. It's the same thing with Regulation CF, which is known as Regulation Crowdfunding. Different requirements from the issuer side, But for the investors, for the people that are watching, everybody can invest. There's just a little bit of a different oversight and regulations so that the investors are still protected more than on a Reg D 506C side. Because speaking of Regulation CF, regulation crowdfunding, you have to put it through a funding portal, a FINRA registered funding portal. And there's due diligence, and there's compliance, and there's oversight, both from the funding portal and regulatorily through FINRA, which is this quasi-government group that oversees everything in the finance world. It's kind of the counterbalance to the SEC. So there's more protection for the investors because there's more oversight of the issuers and what's going on with them.
Yes.
Same thing applies to Regulation A, where it goes through a qualification process with the SEC. It often goes through this short form registration or this process with all the different states. So there's every 6 months a filing that goes to the SEC. What's going on, what's happening, audited financials are required. So again, like the Regulation CF, there's more oversight, there's more reporting, there's more trust in what's going on with it. And with that level of trust, the SEC and the federal government says, well, now everybody can invest. So that's what creates the crowdfunding that we're talking about here, with really democratizing the investor base rather than saying, no, you got it only for millionaires. So it is completely changing the focus and the game. And we love that we're able to work with you to bring that to the masses with your show too.
Man, it's great. It's great. I got more inspired now. I got more fire now to listen to that. My question, so if it seems so great, why a lot of people not doing it?
Well, for a few reasons. A, it's a lot more work to get it together to go to begin with.
Yes.
So to use real estate as an example, if we were to do a bunch of real estate through Regulation A, that takes 3 to 6 months to get set up and qualified. You get a property under contract, you're already closing. Like, there's just not the time for all that. With Regulation CF, it's similar. It's not as long, but it generally takes about 45 days to get a project on board with a funding portal to bring in capital. The time frames are very difficult to work with, but that's where we've actually solved that through doing series offerings or doing pre-developed offerings that all we're waiting on is the property itself. So because of we're recognizing that being an issue, our solution is, well, great. Let's get you set up with your funding platform, with your offering, go through the due diligence, and then the last step is simply throw in the property, throw in the terms. Now all of a sudden you're moving forward in a week versus 3 months to 45 days. So that's in the real estate side really what the hang-up's been. And we're here to create solutions, and that's what we've been doing.
Now, I know it's kind of like one of them questions that people always want to ask, like, because everybody talking about, every attorney say they can do crowdfunding and so forth, right? So what's some of the, you think that some of the, when looking for a crowdfunding attorney, what they look for?
Honestly, it just comes down to experience and knowledge. We're unique in the industry that all we do is securities and real estate. So we've gone through it, battle wounds, just like we were talking about in the entrepreneurial side. We've seen kind of the tweaks and headaches and hurdles with all the deals, and we've been efficient and successful in getting through them. And then we've systematized it. So we're able to keep our costs down low with an amazing team of securities and real estate attorneys. And just to take people through the process, we're efficient with it. It's all that we do. We're cost effective because of us being able to really strictly focus on these types of deals. And then it becomes more an assembly line of step 1, step 2, step 3, rather than working with a solo attorney or an attorney that's really relying on paralegals to do a lot of it. they don't have the experience, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the battle wound to be able to make it affordable, easy, and efficient to get deals on the table. So that's what you need to be looking for with your securities attorney is been there, done that, and offer it on a regular basis so they know how to do it cheap, efficient, and effective.
Yeah, because cheap can cost, right? Sometimes you go for the cheapest option and it can cost you more in the back end.
Oh my God. So, I mean, totally side story. Have that I'm dealing with right now. I built a sliding gate on my backyard and I totally went with the cheapest cost operator. And they get it done. I walk out and I'm like, what? This looks like crap. What's going on here? And then I had this little like poodle puppy runs out and just runs right underneath it. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like the doggy, like where's the point of having a fence? It's keep it on the inside. And the guy says, and I will never forget this, well, you didn't tell us you had a small dog. I'm like, oh, what? So then we have to go and hire, other fence and gate companies to fix it. It ultimately cost us twice as much working with, they were a professional company. They portrayed themselves as a professional, but they didn't have the track record.
Yes.
They may have been the cheapest to get into it, but it cost us the most long term.
Yes.
So it's a perfect analogy for what you should be looking for with a securities attorney. The people that know it, do it all the time, do it right, and recognize that people have puppies sometimes. And so that little side story, but it's very real.
Recognize people have all puppies, huh? Protect the puppies. Protect the puppies.
Absolutely. Then, and then this little puppy grows up and still loves to like run off. Now we got like the air tag on her.
Oh.
So it's like, oh, she's gone. Let's see which, like the whole neighborhood knows our dog now.
Oh, wow.
And so it's like, okay, let's see which house she's hanging out in.
Oh, man.
And it's just gotten to be a thing where it's just like, yeah, they just hang out with her and know eventually they'll bring her back to our house or we'll show up at their door because we know from the air tag of where to show up at. So get a good fence. A very good contractor.
I like that. Get a fence. Oh man, that's good stuff. So I mean, this world of protection is something else. It's like one thing like insurance, right? It's like you don't realize how valuable it is until you actually use it.
You know what? It's using insurance. It really does apply just equally. You hire an attorney up front to minimize your long-term costs. This also really with insurance, very few lawyers are insured for securities. It's actually something that we pay an ungodly, like 3 times as much of what errors and omissions the insurance would be to make sure that we're covered for security. And most law firms, you're a lawyer, you go and talk to them, and unless they're in the business and doing it a lot, it's specifically excluded from their malpractice insurance. Again, why it's really important to not just work with any lawyer. All lawyers aren't built the same. You got to work with one that's in the business and insured to make sure that you do have that coverage if things don't go as planned.
And I guess that's not really willing to give information up. Like you got to ask them about, am I covered on this conversation? Is like, how do you actually, is that a way to actually get to figure it out for yourself, or you just have to just?
You have to ask.
Okay.
Because even those, most lawyers that don't have coverage will say, no, we're not willing to do it because it's a high risk area. And we recognize it's a high risk area, and that's why we only hire very experienced, brilliant attorneys, because it's the only way to protect our clients and protect ourselves. And the insurance is really an important thing, but you do have to ask because it's something that either the people are not insured and won't do because of the risk, or if they are insured, maybe they don't even know if they have coverage for this or not. I work for one law firm, now it's been 18, 19 years ago. And I was doing syndications. I was doing real estate deals. And I asked them, well, do you have securities coverage? And they're like, no. I'm like, you do so many real estate deals. You have so many, investors involved with these. And their response was, well, we're just doing real estate. Like, didn't even recognize what this law firm, it was a big law firm, were jumping into because nobody ever asked the question, even though they were doing all the same services.
I find it I can relate to that because I remember at one point in time in my career, I was trying to be a financial advisor. I was pursuing that route, going through Series 65 and trying to be all best advisor and so forth. And I remember I went to work for one of these big companies, these financial advisor companies.
Don't tell me it was the MLM.
I mean, no, it's not MLM. This is like one of the this is a top 4 company. I mean, it's one of the top in the world companies. And I remember we our training is like in a penthouse, like a week training, full day, food every week, everything, and they have everybody in there, different people, different colors. Got our new recruit rate, so forth. Our new recruit, so forth. And I remember the head guy came in, a little short guy, had he going on like safari trip, so forth, hunting African, so forth. So he just guys little suit on, just walking with like cowboy boots, plaque and so forth. And the guy was there, well, how y'all doing so forth? What's going on? He said, well, ask me anything. Ask me anything you want. And people ask, well, how to do this, how to do that, how to do that. In my head, I'm thinking like this, well, if he's the top guy, I want to know what the top guy making, right? So I'm like if I'm like, hey, because they asked me to know in real estate, do this life insurance thing, so forth, financial advisor, so forth. Like, I want to know what the top guy's making. So I said, so he came to me, I said, so how much you make? I say, well, I would make per year. I'm doing all this stuff, give all my time. We spend all this time training, so forth. And you want me to quit real estate and do this full time? How much you make? I want to know what top guys make. What's possible? And I said that the whole class like this. Oh, he asked that question. I'm like this.
Mic drop.
Everybody look at me like this. Oh, he asked a question. Then everybody kind of turned to him trying to see is he gonna ask a question or not, right? And he kind of said with a smirk like, let's just say I pay $1 million in taxes. And I said, everybody just, this dude. In my head like this, I'm like, I thought we get real estate to not pay taxes. Now you bragging that you paid $1 million in taxes like this, but in real estate we don't pay taxes, or try to figure a way to defer taxes. Man, like this, do you understand what I can do with $1 million? You just throwing into taxes, and like this, and you advising people to pay $1 million in taxes. In my head like this, there's a top guy. He telling me to do it, and it kind of one of the things like this. I feel like we're in 2 different worlds, right? I feel like I need to, this is something that is very intriguing. That the top guy is telling people to pay $1 million in taxes, and the other side like this dude. This is how you not pay. This is how you defer mentality. And I think taxes. My thing on taxes, I really think I think taxes taxes have its own thing. I think the government, the laws and the laws make it work for you, not really against you. Those who understand how the law works benefit very well. And I think with taxes for, I think even with taxes, the government say, hey, how can you stimulate my economy? If you don't do it, I'll take your money and do it for you. And I think it's what kind of boils down to of some sort. I think that it's like, hey, I can show the government, hey, I'm helping the economy grow. I'm helping this, they'll reward me. I'm helping to create jobs. I'm helping create living. They say, hey, we reward that. We want more of that. But if you just keep the money and spend it on certain things, no, I'll take your money and help it out. And so I think that if you really give the government $1 million or help somebody else, go for it. So that's my take on taxes on the surface level. Well, I'm pretty sure we can fight all day, but that's my point on it. That I think that the government, I think the taxes laws work for you if you learn how to make it work.
I couldn't agree more. And you know what? I'm somebody that doesn't mind paying tax.
Yes.
As long as tax dollars are going to good cause.
Correct.
And you know what? We've got an entire country of people that are trying to find their wealth, struggling financially.
Yes.
Struggling to get food on the table.
Correct.
And as long as our taxes are helping everybody, I'm
Yes.
a big fan of them. I mean, and call me weird. I pay a lot in taxes, but
I support that. I support it because I think that charity begins at home. I think here as a nation, I think that that we should like we have like third world countries in our own backyard. Third world living countries now, like third world living in our backyard. Because like saying, I went to school in New Orleans. I went and seen someone do it. I mean, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. So I mean, you here in Texas, right? You see some areas like this, like where are we, right? And I was in Louisiana for a while, so I see some areas in Louisiana like this. I'm not saying we're in the same country anymore, but it's funny to see that how we're so involved in other worlds, not against it, but I think that charity really begins at home. I think that if our home crumble, where like where do you think people are gonna come at? People who broke, they come to your back door, right? You think a little dog get that fence? Might as well get to that fence too to get to your house, right? So I think that that's one of the things that I think Texas is a big thing, that it's a ripple effect that people don't really see.
I couldn't agree more. And you know what? Not to stick to the politics, but when I see the people that are making a killing and not paying taxes at all, I have that mixed feeling of great business person.
Yeah.
But is that great for the community?
Exactly. I think it's funny because I listened to a podcast the other day. It was Grant Cardone's, ironically. And he was saying like the guy was talking about how he trying to be a billionaire, right? And he said he was more impressed not about the money, but he was more impressed about how the guy's built a company to employ more employees. Right, it's like you actually create more wealth by like having a billion dollar company with 2 employees. Who that serve? But having a billion dollar company and you have multiple employees, that way we can share the wealth together. It's like, I guess once again, you say, does it ever end? Once again, the more impact, right? As you give, the more you receive, right?
So I'll say that in my business, my guiding light is joy. And making sure that, or doing what we can, that everybody that's involved enjoys the team, enjoys who they work with,
Yes,
finds gratitude and purpose out of being their part of the overall organization and with our goals and everything else. With you and your business, what's your guiding light?
it's funny because I've been on that joy thing for a while because of you can more enjoy, right? You don't have to be happy. Happy is surface, but joy is an internal self-reflection as well. I think that it kind of go to the golden rule is about treat people how you want to be treated, right? And that's what we try to do. We have the capitalist mentality of creating value. You know, get rich and give back, right? Make more time, more. However you want to put it, but it's more about we try to create wealth, but we also try to create our bigger impact. Everything is purpose driven. We're doing it just not to drive Lamborghini and so forth, but it's more so about nothing wrong with that. But it's like, how can we impact more people?
Well, I'll tell you one thing wrong with that. Every single person I've ever known with a Lamborghini has also gotten divorced.
Oh,
100% of people I've known with Lamborghinis got divorced.
it is coming from attorney, huh?
Do better for your wife. Get a Ferrari.
Get a Ferrari. Get legislative vehicle. Well, she car over now, so we'll see how it goes.
I love it. Well, we all have to have our good goals. And baby, I apologize when I show up in the front yard with my new Ferrari.
You're doing it for her. I'm doing it for you. Because of you, I'm doing it for you.
For you, no Lamborghini. I'm out.
I like that one.
So, well, thank you so much for taking your time with us today, and love learning a little bit more. And hopefully we do a whole lot more of these.
Man, thank you for having me. It's been great, man. I love the couch. I love this.
Mi casa, su casa. Come on in anytime.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you.